is the best character in Detroit Become Human. And that was cringy, but I think I don't know where else to take this bit, so let's get to it. Hello everyone, this is Shooter Fantasy, and today I'm going to be talking about Detroit Become Human. And I'm basically gonna do a review of the game. So the first thing we're gonna talk about is visuals. So visually, this game is very, very beautiful. The characters look very lifelike. The animations are very realistic thanks to the motion capture that Quantic Dream used throughout the production of the game. And just the lighting, everything just looks beautiful. As someone who's a PC gamer, I look at this game, see how beautiful it is, and I'm just very impressed with the amount of optimization that developers are able to get out of a system that's currently 11 times weaker than my computer. But, man, the game is just very pretty to look at, and it literally feels like I'm playing a movie. So, gameplay-wise, the game will have you control the character. You can interact with the room, maybe find things. You can reconstruct evidence or whatnot to just kind of see what happens. As well, you can also pre-construct routes to see where your player might go, so you can get a kind of predict where your actions might lead you before you do them. But as well, there's a lot of scenes where you have quick time events where you've got to press or do a button motion or move a stick a certain way or touch the touchpad or shake the control up or down based on what the game says. And for me, I found these quick time events kind of frustrating in some cases, primarily because I'm not used to a PlayStation controller and its button layout. So anytime it's pressing X, I'm having to quickly be like, okay, where's X? Okay, where's triangle? Where's circle? Where's square? So when I'm doing these quick time events, I really struggle there. But all in all, I think it gets its purpose across. It kind of makes you have to, tries to pull you into the scene, makes it feel like you're actually interacting with the scene, because if you fail a QT or a button prompt, the game does respond to that, and it can get a character killed. Or if you fail or if you succeed, it will give you the upper hand. But based on how you're doing these QTs, it actually does affect the fight and how it plays out a little bit as well. So I find that kind of interesting. But at points in time, it can be frustrating, especially when I'm fumbling with a control scheme I don't know. Story-wise, the entire gimmick is that you can pick and choose everything that happens. And your choices actually do matter. Even the smallest, most insignificant choices you make in the game will come back to haunt you, which I find absolutely amazing. I'm the type of person who really liked games like Life is Strange Before the Storm. So, so Detroit Become Human was like that, but if it was done with really high fidelity graphics, and if the story was way more grandiose on a way bigger scale, had a much bigger budget, and had just so many more choices and branches. And honestly, I'm just in awe with the game, with just how many choices there are and how much your choices actually do matter. I played through the game twice, and I made completely different choices through both my playthroughs, and there are some core things that stay the same in terms of just events that take place, but how you react to these events and what you do in these events will affect whether or not key characters live or die, or even supporting characters. Your choices will affect whether they live or die. So it's just very, very, very interesting to see how it all plays out. And even with my 2 playthroughs I did, there were still lots of things and lots of scenarios and lots of scenes that I have not seen yet. So I just find it amazing. And man, it's just amazing how many scenarios they have. So I just really love the fact that I could write my own story. And the 2 storylines I did get, there were parts in time where, or points in time where I could kind of see like the game took some really heavy references off of a few different things, and it doesn't really try to hide it, but honestly it wasn't enough to pull me out of the experience. It might be for some other people, but for me, you know what, I really enjoyed the game for what it was. Now with some of my praise, I'm going to also, list off some of my cons or things I don't like. There are some parts of the game that feel like they drag out for a little too long. Like, for the most of the game, it starts off being very cinematic, very much feeling like an interactive movie. But there's also points in time where it goes away from being an interactive movie and goes to, trying to be a game, which, I mean, I guess is fine, because it is technically a game, but in some cases, it's just I want to get to what I care about, which is more story, and sometimes you have to do these tasks that kind of drag out for way longer than you want them to. You want to get to the next, bit of story, but you're doing these actions that aren't really, contributing to it. And there's maybe like 1 or 2 scenes where I kind of felt this way. But honestly, it wasn't enough that it pulled me out of the entire experience. So I was able to endure it. But I do have some gripes with just some pacing in some of the scenes. But all in all, the game as a whole, I find I really, really liked it. I think the only way that you might not like it is if you're going into this game expecting, in-depth gameplay. As a game, it's not really that. It kind of really is just an interactive movie. If you're the type of person who, doesn't mind that, if you're the type of person who, had interest in games like Life is Strange, or any other choice-driven game that doesn't focus too heavily on gameplay, Detroit Become Human might be for you. And apart from that, the only other reason I could think of that you might not like the game is if the whole idea of androids just isn't your cup of tea. But for myself personally, I really enjoyed the game. I'm not really going to give it a score though, because it's kind of just an arbitrary number. I don't think review scores really mean all that much if, in the end, I can enjoy it. So, that's all I have to say. If you liked my video, if you like this video, feel free to like it. If you want to keep up with my future content, feel free to subscribe. If you want to be notified of my future content, feel free to click the bell notification icon. And for those of you who feel inclined, I do have a Patreon link down below. And with that all said, I'll see you guys next video or live stream, whichever comes first.